Hey y'all, it's great to be with you again. This is day 13 of our 21-day fast, and I want to talk with you about being generous with our finances. Many years ago, in the early 1980s, Jane and I were students at Johnson University, and one of our beloved professors, Lee Richardson, began to tell us about he and his wife and how they had managed their own finances through the years, especially as it had to do with God's kingdom. He said they would give their regular tithe on a regular basis, of course, but then they would also stick back a little bit of extra money each week or bi-weekly, however they did that, so that when special needs arose within the church family or even the community, that they would have some funds available to be able to give toward those things. In looking back, I am so grateful for that advice that we received very early in our young marriage, because it's something that we have attempted to do ourselves. What was it Professor Richardson was trying to instill within us as students? It's simply that we should have an open-handed view when it comes to our finances, those things that God has blessed us with. You know, a whole lot of things can come into play here when it comes to whether we will invest again in the lives of people or maybe sometimes hold that money back. Number one, it can be fear. We can say to ourselves, well, Lord, if I give this money to so-and-so or toward that cause or whatever the situation might be, then when my bills come due, I won't have enough money to pay those. And then another thing that comes into play is simply the selfish mindset that we have been raised with here in very affluent America. We're taught continually to put ourselves first, that nobody's needs matter quite like our own. But I want to point you to a principle that Jesus has in Scripture and a promise that he has made, which is potentially life-changing for all of us. He simply says in Matthew chapter 6 and verse 33, "Seek first his kingdom," God's kingdom, "and all these things will be added to you." Y'all, there's really only one way, one of two ways that we manage our finances. We can either take all of the responsibility on ourselves to make our budget work, or we can give toward God and keep his kingdom first, and then allow him to work through us to bless us so that we can be successful financially speaking when it comes to him. I want to make you this promise, and Jane and I can make you this promise from personal experience. I want to tell you that if you will take care of God's kingdom, as the Lord has asked you to do here in Matthew chapter 6, he will, in some form or fashion, be faithful to always take care of you. Invest in his kingdom today financially.